So let us now consider this solution, silver nitrate solution, which is a clear solution, and a copper wire. So the reaction between these two substances, copper and silver nitrate solution, is an example of a redox reaction. So we have here a smooth copper wire placed into a clear and colorless solution of silver nitrate. So as we can see, obvious ang color sa copper wire, and the solution of silver nitrate is very clear. But after a short period of time, after the wire is placed in the solution, we can see that there is a change in the color of the silver nitrate solution, and there are already deposits on the surface of the copper wire. So the copper wire looks fuzzy already after a short period of time, and the solution has become light blue. And if madugayan pag yun, over a longer period of time, the observation has become more apparent. It becomes more apparent. So as we can see, it has become a deeper shade of blue ang solution, and then there is a thicker buildup on the surface of the copper wire. So this buildup on the surface of the copper wire is a silver metal. And we are to determine now nganong silver metal ang ni-build up dire sa surface of the copper wire, and why has the silver nitrate solution turned blue? Okay, so the blue color of the solution is indicative of the presence of these ions, the copper ions. Now, in forming the copper ions, copper must lose electrons. Diba? If it's 2+, meaning if the charge is positive 2, meaning there are 2 more protons compared to the number of electrons. So from a neutral atom of copper, it loses 2 electrons to form copper ions. And these ions are the reason why this solution has turned blue. Now, the accumulation of silver and the copper wire is proof of where the electrons went. So, asa man niadto ang electrons? So, dili man na mawala ang electrons. Lagi na siya giadtuan. So, the silver cations in the solution have accepted the electrons lost by the copper. So, diba, in a solution, mag-ionize man na siya. So, we have a silver ion in the solution. Now, this silver ion, positive 1 ang iyahang charge, meaning there is 1 more proton compared to the number of electrons. It is ready to accept 1 electron. No? So, and then to form the silver nga solid. So, muna siyang ni-deposit diri. But there are 2 electrons lost man. So, for every 2 electrons lost by the copper nga atom, there will be 2 silver ions receiving these 2 electrons. So, these 2 reactions shown, the gaining of electrons by the copper, and the losing of electrons by the copper and the gaining of electrons of the silver are called the half reactions. No? So, kaning sa copper, this is an oxidation half reaction. And this of the silver is the reduction half reaction. So, copper is oxidation and silver undergoes reduction. So we can see that the number of copper atoms on the left and right are equal. The total charge on the left side of the equation is 0. Okay, bao naman ta mo assign og oxidation, no? Charge for each element. Since the charge of copper on the right side of the equation is positive 2, to balance the equation, to balance the charge of both sides of the equation, to balance that, we need to add 2 electrons. So that positive 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. So, muna itong tanawan when we balance redox reactions. Kinahanglan, the charge on the left and on the right side of the equation must be equal. And then for the reduction half reaction, we have that of silver. So, positive 1 ang nasa left side, 0 ang nasa right side. So, 1 dire ka electron ang i-add. So the number of silver atoms on the left and right are equal, but the total charge on the right side of the equation is 0. So since the charge of silver on the left side of the equation is positive 1, we add 1 electron to it so that the sum of the charges on the left side equal to the right side, which is 0. So After that, so we have the two half reactions already, we need to look at the number of electrons. So aside from the electrons, unsay una tan-awon ang ato ang number of atoms. So equal naman ang number of atoms, walay oxygen, walay hydrogen in the equation. Next thing we look at would be the number of electrons. So we have 2 electrons in the oxidation half reaction, and we have 1 electron in the reduction half reaction. So what we are going to do now is to make the number of electrons equal. And how do we make the number of electrons equal? We just multiply the second equation by 2. So it's either we multiply the second equation by 2 or we divide the first equation by 2, just to make the number of electrons in both equations equal. So after multiplying 2, equal naman silang duha, then we can cancel that, after which we are going to add the 2 equations. And the summation of the 2 half equations is called our net ionic equation. And when you look at your net ionic equation, you must make sure that the number of atoms of each element are equal on both sides, and as well as the total charge on both the left and right side of the equation is equal.